When did you first join the Latin Kings?
Oh, the good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's time. Let's get to it.
It's time.
1986, man.
1986.
That's a good year, man. That's you know.
You were born that year. Get out of here. What happened? How did you join the? What happened?
Well, my story is a very peculiar story because I'm Dominican.
Okay.
And very rarely did you see at that time, a Dominican joining what they call a Puerto Rican gang. And actually, it was not even the original founder of the Latin Kings in Chicago. Was actually a Chicano. And King Blood is Cuban. So when we were up top, we had beef with the 5%ers. 5%ers were, they were oppressing a lot of the Latino brothers. Mm-hmm. And, the gangs wasn't, the Latinos was not united that much at that time. And King Blood, he got together with a couple of us and we spoke, we sat down, we said, what the hell, we put it together. And we started out with 10. There are 8 of us who are from the original 10. There are 8 of us who are alive. 2, we just lost 2 of them. May they rest in peace. And we were few, man. We wasn't thousands by the thousands, man. We were few and we held it down.
Okay. So King Blood started the Latin Kings
in New York City.
In New York State.
New York State.
So the Latin Kings was already
established in Chicago.
The history of the Latin Kings, they became as a political movement when Pedro Albizu Campos was trying to run for office in Chicago, and he was looking for the support of the Latinos. Mm-hmm. And the Latin Kings back then in Chicago, they were with the mindset of, revolutionizing an entire world. They were down with the political movement. Mm-hmm. And that's how they started over there. Fast forward several years later, decades later, if you will, here in New York, King Blood saw the oppression of the Latinos. And he saw and spoke to a few of us that in his eyes or in his mind, said these dudes are thorough. We sat down, we had a conversation, and we said, yeah, let's do it. We're not going to accept this. We're definitely not going to accept this.
So who gave King Blood the
permission? Nobody.
Whoa.
In fact, if I remember correctly, when we first started coming up, the brothers from the motherland, we called it Chicago, they came out here. They came out here deep. Mm-hmm. They came out here deep, and they stepped to us. They wasn't coming here to play. And let me tell you something. Chicago's a different monster. For those who know what Chicago really was back in the days, and still is a different monster. So they came and we sat down and we met at a neutral ground. One thing that they respected, that we never backed down, and we recognized that we were wrong. King Blood recognized that he didn't have permission, and it was one of his brothers. Actually, his brother was one of the original from the motherland, and came with the concept of Latin Kings here, and gave it to Blood, and Blood went forth. And when we sat down with the brothers and sisters, they gave us the green light.
Yeah, sat down in prison or outside?
No, outside. They came outside.
Yeah, that's different. Blood came from Chicago. He was a peewee in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So he didn't really... Peewees are young. He was like 13, 14, whatever. He was young in Chicago running the streets. So when he came to New York, he didn't really have the knowledge, understanding what was going on with the nation. He just had the concept of, he was a younger. So when he started in prison, he didn't have permission to start. He didn't have permission to start when he started it.
So he just sat at the table. So because what were y'all going through in the prison system? Because we hear the stories of oppression, but then I heard that you guys were being. Recently, I heard that you guys were being.
We oppressed who?
Oppressed as well.
Oppressed
no, but who are they saying that we oppressed?
Predators?
They're saying that they said that the Bloods were outnumbered. Well, the warden. Okay.
You got to go before that. Let's
go
you go
before
to
that.
let's go to the story before the Bloods.
Yes.
Tell me.
Let's
teach
go
me.
to the story
I'm just
because the
telling you
real
what
beef was with first was the 5%ers.
We started the beef.
You
with
had
the
two
5%.
different kind of 5%ers. You got regular 5%ers, and you had the renegade 5%ers. You got 5%ers that would teach and build and try to bring you knowledge, understanding. They try to bring you to 120s. They would try to teach you that.
Absolutely.
Then you had the renegade ones that was like, yo, son got a chain. Yo, what's up? We're going to go get son. Yo, son got sneakers. Son got this. So now you got to understand who was the target. The minority. We was the minority at the time. Latinos.
So you being in prison, or you guys remember before you that the Spanish were being you guys being picked on? Like what was?
Absolutely, we were being picked on. Absolutely.
Not everybody. But I'm going to break it down. Listen, let me break it down the best way. When we was first coming to prisons, the biggest blocks that was holding everything down was the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans had, because remember back in the days, in the 80s, remember all these movies and everything. All the Jamaicans. Used to go to jail and it'd be like 1,000 Jamaicans. Boom, 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 all this crazy stuff. Everybody from the spots, they was getting, listen, I'm just keeping it 100, baby.
Don't make sound effects
Bro,
like that, bro.
I'm going to start hitting the wall. Blood clot.
You had the Jamaicans,
Listen.
big things are going on in the city.
Yard boy.
Yeah,
Yankee man.
Yeah.
But the Jamaicans had things, I'm not even going to lie. They was really the big thing besides the 5%ers. The Muslims, I'm not even going to consider them part of it. The Muslims do what they do. But gangs, what they consider gangs, the 5%ers and the Jamaicans.
What was the Jamaicans gang
Particularly
called?
the smokes.
The smokes.
The smokes.
They used to throw something or some whatever, like if they were smoking weed or whatever, it was called the smokes.
And they were deep.
Oh yeah, they were deep.
The Jamaicans were deep.
They were deep.
The
And they
Jamaicans
was
were
putting
deep.
that work in.
The Jamaicans were deep. And you messed with one, you was fighting
You
all
was
of them.
fighting the whole
All of
tribe,
them.
man.
All of them.
They didn't play that.
They got the same mentality that Latins have. They family oriented. They all from the yard. Somehow, bro, you messed with one, it was like forming Voltron.
So
That
that,
was
so those.
That was the
situations-
original beef from Rikers Island after it transformed from the 5%ers, because the 5%ers started losing the momentum. And Rikers at the time in the early 90s, it was
That's
the
when the
Jamaicans.
Jamaicans, they
It
were
was the
coming up.
Jamaicans. The Jamaicans were strong. The Jamaicans were strong.
So that's
gotta-
what made you
West
guys.
Indians,
You had to
Jamaicans.
respect them, man. You have to respect them. They had the mentality, man. And the Trinidadians, the Guyanese, all of them came under the Jamaicans. And they was powerful, man. They was powerful. They were deep.
That's what made you guys create the Latin Kings in New York.
No.
No.
The one that started because of that was the war with the 5%ers.
But okay, but let's go back, like you said. So the Jamaicans now. But what made, in your opinion, you can't, speak for the smokes, but what made the Jamaicans? Were the Jamaicans picking on you
No,
guys?
it wasn't
No.
a picking.
No, it wasn't
They
a picking.
just dominated.
They just dominated.
All right, let's put it like this. If you hit HDM has was it 80 people? 80 cells? 3 phones? 80 people, 3 phones. You think everybody's getting on that phone?
I don't know.
I would assume so. They would.
You would assume that 80 people gonna get on that horn.
They're supposed to.
We're not talking about supposed to. We're
Okay,
talking
no,
about
no.
reality of it.
Yeah, all right.
So the biggest problems in jail was
The Jacks.
the jacks. You pick up that phone, it was like a house phone. You could stay on that phone 8 hours. There was no time limit. So that phone, that horn, is what was the major drama. You know what I'm saying? So when you come into a house, first thing you want to do is let your family know where you at so you can get a visit. Now picture another man telling me I can't get on that phone. And he don't got a uniform on. He a regular inmate. You think I care what color he is? I'm gonna get on that phone. My lights is about to get turned out. You think I'm worried about catching another case or catching something? You gonna let me on
I'm
that
gonna
phone?
die in prison. I got
You
no
gonna
other
let me
choice.
on that phone? That was the beef. Was the phone? The phone was the beef. The Jamaicans, it wasn't really the robbery thing. Jamaicans wasn't really on that robbery thing. They did whatever they did, but it wasn't. It was more the oppression of the phone and the domination. You couldn't get on that phone. They had the shit on smash. So that was really the beefs that started creating the beefs was the phone. That was the beefs with the Jamaicans.
Now picture you coming back from Rikers Island. You get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They throw you in the bullpen. You spend I was there eating a bologna sandwich. You blow trial. Your light's done. And you coming back to the house and you want to tell your people, you trying to make the next move to see what my lawyer's going to do. What, let's prepare this appeal. Come see me or anything. And you're not able to get on that phone? Ain't no man alive going to tell me that I'm not able to get on that phone.
So it started with the phones.
Yes.
That was the biggest beef on Rikers
biggest
Island
beef.
in the 90s. This before, we talking about pre-Bloods.
Okay, pre-blood.
Bloods didn't even exist at that time.
There was no Bloods at the time.
And if there was probably one or two, and it was from L.A.
From L.A. And they rocked with us because they was under the People Alliance.
Yes, the People Alliance.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
What's that?
That's a coalition that was made out of Chicago with the Peoples. The Peoples, you got Peoples and Folks. You got People Nation,
We
you
were
got the Folk
Peoples.
Nation.
Folks were
Everything that's
enemies.
under the 5-point star. Everything that's 5, pops 5.
5 alive,
Everything
6 gonna die. People's popping, disciples dropping.
Yeah.
So the Bloods was under that 5-point banner.
So wait. Let's because you guys talk fast. So because you good talkers, I gotta slow you down for me.
Mm-hmm.
Who came up with the People Alliance?
That's in
Chicago.
Chicago. That's
That
in the
was in Chicago.
70s.
It had nothing to do with New York.
That's got nothing to
Okay.
do with us.
So
But they came here and we respected that.
you respected
Because
that.
it's in our lessons.
Absolutely.
100%.
So the people and who did it consist of though?
You had at the time Vice Lords, you had traveling Vice Lords, you had the El Rookins, you had who else at the time? The Bloods, Peace Stones, Black Peace Stones,
Those were the peoples.
Black Panthers,
And then that's as far as for the 5.
everything
Yes.
that pops 5.
And where does that terminology for the 5 come from? Right under the 5. What is that like? Is it anything special about it? It's a
It's
star.
just it's a star. It's a 5-point
5-point
star.
star.
What's the meaning of a 5-point star though?
It's the crown. It's the crown that affiliates all of us together.
Got
It's
it.
a symbol. It's like it's an emblem, if you will, of these organizations.
Like the
these
6,
families.
everything they do is 3 and 6s.
We do everything is
Everything
5.
is a 5.
Got it. Wow. So now,
Which is like T. Rogers took it from Chicago to L.A.
mm-hmm.
And that's the Peace Stones, which later on became what they became, the Jungle, the different stones and everything, but originated in Chicago.
Understood.
And they're under the People's Alliance.
So let's fast forward a little bit. The phones going crazy. The Jamaicans. Do you remember? Bring us to the day that King Blood came and said, "Yo, what were you doing? How did it come? Was it a kite sent? How did that whole conversation happen?"
I was actually playing handball. We just came from commissary. Everybody's flossing. You eating your little ice creams and stuff. And I'm playing handball, and I was approached by this Cuban brother. So they were watching me. I had 2 days prior to that, I had gotten into a fight. This dude tried to come at me, and I had hit him up. And at that time, there were very few Dominicans at that time. And he said, "Shorty, you got a lot of heart, man." And I just said, "Oh, it is what it is. I'm just, trying to survive here." So we had a conversation, and they had invited me, and then they showed me the concept of bringing all the Latinos together. And I said, "Wow, man, that's pretty cool." And I saw what was happening at that time. I said, "I'm with it."
What did you see though? I said you saw the phone. You saw getting robbed. Like,
People were getting robbed. People were getting jumped. People were, you come in with a chain. Back then, you could rock your jewelry back then.
I heard.
And dudes were getting snatched. We had expensive sneakers. You had expensive boots and stuff. And people were just taking it off of you. And, we were herbed. And I said, "You know what? I'm with it, man. I'm with it. What we got to do?"
And you witnessed the Latino
Absolutely.
being, and these were by the Jamaicans or the
No, we were
Muslims?
by the 5%ers.
This is the 5
The
percenters.
Jamaicans, we made that very clear.
You did.
Jamaicans wasn't on that.
They wasn't on that.
No, he said that. Yes,
They wasn't
pardon
on
me.
that.
Pardon
Yeah.
me. You did make that clear. So, the 5%ers were more like being.
But when we say 5%, I need you to understand what
Please
my
explain.
brother broke it down. You had the righteous 5% that they wasn't about that.
That teaches you. He did say
Teaching
that.
you.
Yes.
They will build you up. You have the righteous brother.
Then the
You know what
renegade.
they had, the poor righteous teachers. These brothers wanted, and they were about education. They were about black pride. They were about rising the people. and going against the man. But then you had these young kids that came under them, who it was back then. It was cool to have a moniker like Knowledge or See Allah or something like that. It was cool because because of Rakim, and so these young cats used to come, and they had that type of mentality, and they were the ones who started that stuff. And in our eyes, we categorized everybody as one because you're a part of that. If you're a part of that and you allow that to happen, then you got to get it too. And that's how we transformed.
And he said the renegade.
The renegade 5%ers.
Okay, so you sit down.
We need to make that clear.
Make it clear. Yes. Please,
okay.
Make it clear on camera.
Yes.
So,
because we don't want to categorize. You had these 5%ers that they were the epitome of true manhood.
Understood.
Of what Malcolm X and these brothers who stood up to the system. They were the epitome of that. And we wanted to emulate that. But we didn't have enough fortitude to rise above our confusion to follow that. And then we saw these young cats coming in and trying to, what was the word back then? Herb us? That was the word? They tried to herb us.
That was a Vic.
It was a Vic. And, we saw that. And if you couldn't correct that, then anybody associated with that, you getting it too.
So, okay. So, you witness that. You have a conversation. And King Blood says, we're going to be called Latin King.
Mm-hmm. He drew up a manifesto.
Because remember, he didn't get permission at that time.
Yeah.
So he freestyled the man. Can we say that?
He took what little bit he knew.
The little knowledge that he knew.
And added on to all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And these were the guidelines and bylaws that we had to adhere if you wanted to be a true king. And in that concept as well, there was some Latino pride, man. You had black pride.
Yeah,
so where was our pride at? Who were we? We were ghosts. We didn't know who we were. And then he brought in the concept of Incas. And the Incas, if you do the history, they were warriors and Taínos, man.
But the Native American?
Yeah. So they're considered Native Americans. But the Incas and the Taínos, the Siboneyes, these were warriors, man. And when that mentality was attached, we was like, what? I want that. I want to be a part of something.
This is before the Bloods, right?
This is way before
the Bloods. Bloods didn't even exist through that, man. They were nowhere near around that. If you had, again, as I reiterate, if you had them, there was one or two, and they were from L.A.,
right?
Not from New York City.
No, right. So, are you able to divulge or describe what was on the manifesto, or that's private?
You know that's private. You know that.
I try to tell my man to ask that. I want him to ask that. I didn't want to look crazy, man. I didn't want to get shut down, man.
I'm gonna tell you two things that's part of it. I'm gonna tell you that, man. I'm gonna tell you actually three things that's part of it. That's a common law. That's common knowledge.
Pastor is funny.
No extortion. No robbing. And no man-on-man action.
No rats.
And no rats.
So you just gave us 4.
He gave you. I gave you 3. He gave you 1.
Can't eat cheese, man.
Can't eat cheese. No man-on-man action, buddy. And I'm saying it the politically correct way.
We have to because
that's why no man-on-man action.
Thank you very much.
No robbery and no extortion.
No, but no robbery and no extortion to whom? Amongst each
anyone.
other? Wow.
To anyone. Blacks, whites, it's out.
So who painted the imagery? Because, what you're telling me...
Because you got predators. Let me tell you something. Jail is broken down into different individuals.
Prey or predator.
You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. You got dudes that are predators. Mm-hmm. You got dudes that are real. Mm-hmm. Whatever, gangsters. You got the fake gangsters. Mm-hmm. You got the regular dudes. And then you got the victims. Mm. Now, it's all up to you which one you're going to be. You understand what I'm saying? The predator's there to... You got kicks, you got boots, you getting drugs, you getting whatever. He on you. Now, the real dude is just on him, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He just doing him.
Doing his bit.
Then you got the dudes that sell the fake wolf tickets.
Sell gangsters.
They're talking, then when it's time to get busy, it's a whole different story.
But what confused me is that when you hear about the Latin Kings, with those principles, you guys wouldn't really be in any trouble because those are principles.
Why not?
Extortion.
If you come and rob one of my brothers for their chain, what you think I'm going to do?
No, of course. No, what I'm saying is that the imagery that was painted was that, you
But
guys
they're
are
coming,
bullets.
you're talking to people that came in 93 and up. July 93. That's when the Bloods formed in C-73. We're talking pre. You got to understand the jail system at the time between 91, before 91, 92, 93 was predominantly Jamaican. The Latinos started getting picked up by the boatloads because of TNT. TNT used to come and raid a block and pick up 50 Puerto Ricans or 50 Dominicans, 50 whatever. The next day, they was calling Puerto Rico and bringing the people back out here to flood those blocks because they wasn't going to lose 100,000, 40,000, whatever they was making on those blocks. So now you got these dudes that don't speak a lick of English getting picked up, coming to prison, don't know how to say anything. So guess what's happening?
They're the victims.
They're the victims.
So now, Latin King started. Got the manifesto. Right? You saw it. What happens next now? What happened next? Like
They fought the first big war, which was in the summer. That summer in Collins against, I think the first war was against the Muslims, right?
It was against the Muslims.
What happened?
Wait, before that, hold on, my fault. Before that, you know, with the Bloods, they said that, you know, the joint in, they had to bring someone home. Like, how did you guys bring people home, so to speak, for Latin Kings? How did you get people to join in, or what was the initiation process, or you know what I mean?
It wasn't for everyone.
But
No, it wasn't for everyone.
But wait, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Remember what the warden said, that the warden said that from his belief that all you had to do was be Latino to
right.
join the Latin Kings. They didn't really require. I don't
Who
know.
said
if
that?
that's-
Bailey said?
Bailey?
Yeah. Well, I want to ask them personally, because
But that's not necessarily true because us, we had the 5 Caribbean islands. You could be Jamaican and be Latin King. We got Jamaican Latin Kings, Haitian Latin Kings.
That's right.
So it was the Caribbean islands. People are forgetting that. See, y'all don't know the. You could Google the lessons. I'm not gonna break down the lessons. I'm pretty sure you Google them, you'll find it, and you're gonna see the 5-point star. And in that 5-point star, you got Haiti and Jamaica and the Caribbean islands on there. Besides Santo Domingo, Cuba, and Puerto Rico, that was the original foundation of the 5-point star in New York State. You had to be not from out here. You could be black Jamaican, you could be black Haitian, you could be black Cuban, Panamanian. It wasn't like that.
But you had to come under that 5-fold banner.
You had to come under that banner.
That's it though. It was no.
That's it.
There was no process, because then they were saying you had to get food, and you had to, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, you people gonna say whatever they want to say.
No, I'm saying that's for.
What I'm saying, they have certain things. I can't speak for the Bloods. They did what they
They
did.
did what they did, but as for us, you had to be thorough. You had to put in that work.
You couldn't just come in.
And you
like
just
that.
can't just come in and get crowned. We would observe you. We
Yeah,
would
that's
observe
what I'm
you.
saying.
How you
What-
conduct
what's the-
yourself, how you carry yourself.
And then we would approach you just like they approached me. You know, I was neutral. I wasn't, with no gangs. I was just graffiti kid. I was down with this crew called CYA, Crazy Young Artists, out from Queens.
And I was beefing with his crew.
He was, but he was TA7. You was from Woodside. And my moniker was Meek, M-E-E-K. Everybody knows me with that name. I was just a graffiti kid, man. And when I came in, I wasn't having that. I'm from Brooklyn. You're not going to take my stuff. And if you're going to take it, you're going to get hurt. They saw that. And they approached me, and that's how we began recruiting individuals. But we wasn't out. We wasn't hungry or thirsty to bring everybody. And it wasn't about numbers with us. Anyone who was thorough, who was real, who's listening to this podcast will tell you that when we began, we were few. We started out with 10. We were what? And see, in the 3 building, we were what?
20?
We were few, man. We wasn't a whole bunch. And then later on, after 93, 94...
93, 94 is when it took
They started coming in.
It took off, yeah, it took off.
It took off.
Tell us about the big war. You said that there was what was the first war that you guys fought?
We had a very big war with the Muslims.
On where? Rikers?
No, in Collins. Collins Correctional Facility.
What year was this?
This is 1986.
86. Tell us what happened, if you can. Because you look like you want to be... I know, Pastor, you cool, but, what happened, Pastor? You can, man.
It was a war.
It was a war.
It was a war.
It was too much there.
There was too much. We went at it. We went at it in the yard, and things happened.
People got hurt.
Yeah. Badly. And we moved on from that, and we was... That statement right there, that was the point of departure for the Latin Kings, because we let people know we're not playing that. We wasn't having it.
They moved everybody that was there to different penitentiaries, and then they just kept going with it.
Oh, so you had a big war. People got hurt. Sent the message, and then they moved you guys
To Max's.
Yep.
to Max's.
To Max's.
Okay.
And when we got to the Maxes, we really found out if we were really lions or what. If we were lions or snakes or sheep. And wherever we stood, we held our ground, man.
Earlier, okay. Now, in your opinion, right?
Mhm.
In your opinion, how did the blood start? Not saying you should know, but what did you guys witness? Did you witness? You must have.
It happened in C-73.
And you said July.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, OG Mac was there. You had OG Mac, you had Deadeye there, Majesty. There was a couple of Bloods there. And they came and sat down at the table with Blaze and a couple of the individuals that were holding titles. Rest in peace, Blaze. I'm not gonna name anybody else, but there was a couple of individuals there. And it was worked out that since a lot of brothers couldn't become kings, they were gonna start the Bloods, and we were gonna send them the brothers that wanted to become kings to hold them down. They were gonna be people under the People Alliance with us. This was in '93. Now, as time goes on, they start growing. Now, mind you, there's a third entity that we're not talking about, which is the Nietas.
Right.
Okay, you know what I mean? And
They accepted anybody.
Anybody, man on man action, anybody. It was they're
all
for the
about
prisoners.
growing.
They're about the prisoners.
Yeah, they're very political.
They're political. They accepted anybody. Now, the story is how everything really started. The war was over a Nieta juggled a pack of cigarettes to a Blood. Every day he kept pressing him. Yo, you got me on commissary, right? You got me on commissary, right? You got me on commissary. Every day. The Blood dude got annoyed. Commissary day came. Told him, you dead, son. You dead. Fuck out of here. You dead. Nieta goes to a king, tells him, yo, he robbed me. This is a true story. King goes over there, yo, you can't be robbing no, What? I ain't robbing, did it? The Nieta, shit pops off. The war starts behind that incident over a pack of cigarettes. That's a fact.
Anybody who's thorough,
anybody that's real, that was there, will tell you the truth.
Tell you the truth, man.
That's how the war started. Wasn't our beef. They were cool with us.
So, okay. So, OG Mac, Blaze, we're not going to name the rest of the people. You know.
I mean, there was a couple of Bloods. AY was there. Many people there.
They sat down and
at a table. They sat down in the yard in the 3 building, and they came to the understanding that they were going to start the Bloods there.
Got it. So, basically, was it getting permission? Why did they need to sit down?
I don't want to say it's permission because that sounds like somebody's over somebody. It was an agreement. You understand? Not to cause conflict.
Respect.
I'm going to go in that direction because it wasn't like anybody was trumping anybody.
Nah,
we was about uplifting.
That's right. Back then in the days, if there was a beef between 2 rival gangs, whoever the beef was, we would allow you to handle it. Give him a gun, handle your business, nobody gets involved. And that's how the beef was handled.
But this is in a 3 building. You got to understand, this is the 3 building. Was spread out to other places and I can't speak about what was going on in C95. If somebody felt oppressed because you go there, it was San Juan. It was like 70% Spanish because that was the only building that gave out methadone.
And everybody was going there. The majority of the
brothers
that was
going there.
Up on that,
so if you there, obviously you're gonna feel,
yo,
what's up with all this? You know what I mean? So a lot of beefs that people say was over drugs.
Drugs and cigarettes.
Spanish people was getting them. And a lot of people was using them and not paying. So you know what happens when you don't pay, right?
You're getting poked.
So the drug story is true.
What drug story?
No, I'm just saying that a lot of people.
Yes, 100%. That happens to this day. To this day, up north, wherever you go, people be like, yo, I got you on commissary every day. I got you. My people's going to send you this. Yo, hit me off. And niggas take the bag and
when it's time to pay.
So the beef started over a pack of cigarettes, and Nieta started that.
That's a fact.
But why would? How can if?
Because we supposed to stand up for our people. So the king went over there. Remember, he told them that he got robbed. He told the king that he got robbed. So the king went over there to hold him down. Bam, bam. That's a fact.
Holding Nieta down.
That's a fact. Because
And
he
it-
was Spanish.
And it caused the rift between
Caused
the blood.
it caused the war. It caused the war. It caused the war. That pack of cigarettes exploded because they moved everybody. They moved us from the 3 building. I went back to Queen's house. You had people that went to HDM, to the Beacon, Bloods that went all over the place. And now that war started spreading throughout. And mind you, there's still beef with the 5%ers. You got a lot. You think the 5%ers disappeared? What did they become? Bloods. So a lot of people that had personal beefs and personal issues just moved into the next vehicle that was moving. And at the time, we was moving in one direction, and the Bloods started moving. But then y'all forgetting the Jamaicans are still involved in this. So now the beef is still going on between the Jamaicans and the 5%ers, the Bloods. That's the war.
So
When did the truth come out though? Like you obviously know what happened and why it started.
The truth? Because it was already too late. There was already bloodshed. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's already done. Yo,
It
you
was
hit
like wildfire.
That's it.
Spread like wildfire.
It didn't matter no more. It didn't matter. It got to the point it didn't matter. Because it already popped off. You already touched one of mine. There's no, oh, here, go hit. Nah, I'm not going to hit my man. Fuck that. I'm going to hit you. And that's how it just, but don't think that everybody was on some racial. I was in a lot of blood houses. I was with Shotquells and 5 North in the towers. We ain't had no issues. What they try to do to us in Suffolk Supreme? We going to trial. That I was going to trial. They kept trying
They
the
tried to put
COs
us-
was the ones
they
doing
tried
all
to
the
put us
bullshit.
in the bullpens, and we
The
went
fuck
in.
out of here.
We
Bailey
went-
was talking on. He was talking out of his elbows.
Yeah,
He
man.
know what he was. He know what he was doing. A lot of them was doing that, and it was the police that was instigating. Yo, Poppy, that's over there. Yo, son, he hit one of your peoples over here. Oh, what? I got you. A lot of police was
a lot of
instigating
people were
that.
mad. A lot of people were mad at what Bailey was saying
Because
from
he
that
was
interview.
saying the politically correct thing. I don't expect him to tell on himself.
You know
He
his position.
police.
He police.
He
He's gotta say
police. But imagine this, right? And I'm gonna tell you this as an inmate or a prisoner, however you
never-
want to call it.
I can't tell
All
him
right.
anymore.
I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down at the chair, right? And I'm getting visit, right? And how my girl come to visit me, and you got these COs trying to kick it to my girl, or you got the COs. Oh, yo, this other girl was here visiting him. They was doing bullshit, trying to kick it to your visitors, trying to do bullshit, trying to violate you, going through your pictures. Oh, look at this bitch. Would you fuck that bitch? Look at that. Oh,
her-
shit.
getting their phone
And you
numbers,
getting
everything.
searched like this. You getting searched. You butt naked in your drawers. All them there with the riot gear searching. You think you gonna say something? If you do, you getting beat. I saw the interview you did with you didn't do it, but Mel Cross touched on it. He did like a little thing, and he was 100% about Bailey. Straight cheese. You know there was a rumor that Bailey was blood.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
He didn't bail out no Latinos out the Bing. Why not? Because we wasn't allowed to talk to the police without another brother present. So he didn't give us no rhythm.
We wouldn't talk to them.
So it's a different. You had a lot of oppression, but it was the COs causing that oppression. How you gonna send me? I'm high classification all of a sudden out of nowhere. Why I'm getting moved? Where I'm getting moved to? Oh, because I got slick at the mouth with this CO. Oh, we going across the hall over there.
Put them in
So,
the blood house.
What's that about? Oh, there's no blood houses in my thing. The fuck out of here. Come on, man. They was doing the same thing to the Bloods. They was taking the Bloods and throwing them right in the cell with the Kings. Oh, you tough? All right, we're going to see how tough. And they were making bets amongst themselves. That's a fact. You could ask anybody that was there, they'll tell you the truth. Most of the oppression was the prisoners, was the prison guards. That was where the oppression was coming through. How we was getting 007 knives like that? How you was getting all these type of different
We were
things in
getting
there?
skeleton keys to get out of the cuffs, man.
Where was that coming from?
We didn't make that.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I don't know who to believe on these shows anymore, man. It's
You had
He-
you had the
he
Bloods.
spoke-
You had the Bloods telling the same stories.
Right.
So I'm telling you my story, and he's telling you his story. You don't have to believe me. But now when you're talking about the other opposition that we don't get along with, telling you the same story, somebody got to be telling the truth here.
That's facts.
You know what I mean? Somebody got to be telling the truth. What you think? A police gonna sit there and be like, tell on himself?
So do y'all remember Bailey? Do y'all remember seeing him?
Oh, Bailey went from regular CO, Captain,
Captain,
Dep.
War-
He was in HDM in the 4 building. Come on,
Yeah.
bro. I wasn't there when he was a warden. But I've seen Bailey. Bailey he thought he was a gangster. He come through.
So he didn't treat everyone fairly, is what you're saying.
I
So
don't
that's
know.
what
I
he
mean,
was saying
on the outer appearance, he was basically on the outer appearance. But now, when you even hear him, I was bailing them out. You wasn't bailing out no
absolutely
Latinos.
none Latinos.
You wasn't bailing out no Latinos.
First of
you
all,
ain't get investigated for being a Latin king.
First of all, you're not gonna approach a Latino, especially a king, and you're gonna talk to a king. We wasn't playing that. If
You had to have a witness.
You had to have a witness right there. That was part of our guidelines. There's no talking with police unless you have another brother present, and he wasn't approaching us. So there is no way, it's impossible that he could have bailed any Latino out from the Bing.
Who do y'all remember? This one. Who do y'all? Okay, so you saw
Who was bailing us out of the Bing?
Yeah. Sanchez. I heard a guy named
Well,
Sanchez.
you said it. Sanchez.
Yeah, I heard about him.
Sanchez was fair.
Wait, hold up. Hold on, Cano. I like you a lot, but
Sanchez was fair.
don't say that. Are you being biased or are you being honest? You
I
can
said
say
Sanchez was fair with us. I said a lot right there. He was fair with us.
I heard it. I heard.
He was fair
So
with
Sanchez
us.
was fair with you guys.
He was 100% fair.
Do you think Sanchez was witnessing, or you don't? We can't speak for Sanchez. You know.
I can't speak for what
He could speak for himself.
Yeah, he could.
These guys are good.
He could definitely speak
They
for
good.
himself.
They good. So the story you said some of the stories that were being told were a little fabricated. You said that you understood some. You said some of them weren't. You know what?
I'm not saying fabricated because they're telling their point of view from what they saw. You understand?
And
What
that's
they
their
were going
reality.
through.
That's
so
their
that's
truth.
their reality. You understand what I'm saying? You know, you also got to understand. They was in 1A, 1B. That's one housing unit.